The bubbles.
We'll see what happens at the end of this.
So if you happen to be tuning in right now, whether you're live or you're watching the YouTube stream after the fact, thank you for joining. This is Stormfront Freaks Raw. So this is the plain old recording. You're getting everything if you're watching this version. You're getting the behind the scenes, you're getting the breaks, you're getting the pre-show, post-show, and all the nasty name calling that we tend to do. We don't do that. No, we don't really do that.
Not in front of your back anyway. No.
But hey, we are excited. We got Janice Dean with us tonight, so we're gonna get started here shortly. But we're excited to have Janice on board. But and if you are live on YouTube or something, feel free to drop in the chat. Let us know you're here. If you got any questions for Janice or anything like that, let us know. MJ will be keeping an eye on that as well. So that'll work. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, Janice, I'll do a quick intro again to everybody. So, we got Dina Knightley, who's at the Weather Channel Digital.
Dina! Hi, Janet! Hi, girlfriends!
Hi, honey.
Aw.
We got Jen Watson, who used to be with the Weather Channel. She's a big social media guru. She's a meteorologist. She's now with Agora Pulse.
Hi, Jen.
Hi. Nice to meet you. I've got the book right here.
Aw, thank you so much.
And then we got Mark Massaro, and we call him Maz because we have two Marks on the show. So Maz, he's
Mark.
former TV meteorologist.
I've watched the Weather Channel. So.
We never looked in the building.
And Fox and Friends.
Oh, good. Very good. Represent.
And then we also have Mark Johnson. We call him MJ to differentiate the other Mark. He's up in Minnesota.
I've heard of the Weather Channel.
Hello.
Good.
And Fox and Friends.
Yeah,
So
correct.
There's a connection of some sort there.
How many times will we say Fox and Friends tonight? I'm just guessing.
I don't know.
Let's take a guess.
Okay,
Well-
quick sound check on everybody. Everybody sounds good.
Are we
MJ.
drinking every time you say it?
Oh,
Whoa.
good idea.
Well, there we go.
That's like MASH.
Not
Wow.
from-
All right, how's the music sound?
That's good.
Good. All right. So, anybody have questions? Make sure you mute your phones.
idea.
I think your mic volumes, everyone sounds pretty good there. If you have to mute yourself, just a reminder, if you move your mouse to the top of the screen, you'll see there is a little microphone. You can click on that and that will mute your mic. There's also a camera. You can mute your camera if you really need to. But,
We don't
Is
want
that
to see
what-
your face.
Yeah, why'd you move my
certain
camera?
things we don't want to see. Yes, Dina, you are correct.
We don't want to see your face.
What
We
the
could
heck?
do that in real life.
That would actually
Mike-
be really nice as an option.
My co-host, try and keep your mic, within a 4-finger distance or so from your mouth. And if you get knocked off for any reason, just remember you can use the same link to jump back on. So, so we'll start. We'll do the normal introduction of the show. We'll introduce who's here tonight with our happy hour. What are you drinking? And then Maz, you're doing the intro for Janice, correct? You got that ready to go?
Did not know that.
Okay,
Let me
so
find it.
someone who continues to not look at the agenda I send out on a
No, I saw the agenda, but I didn't see myself on there.
Yay,
Wow.
Maz.
What the heck? Everybody drink slowly.
All right,
While I
let
find it.
Maz look at the Janice Dean intro. We want to get that right.
Janice,
that's
do you
all right.
go
Yes.
to the Kentucky Derby every year?
It's been, 4 years now. So
really?
consecutively, yes. And I'm hoping that this year I'm going because it's going to be right before my 50th birthday. So
Woo!
I'm hoping that they're going to like roll out the big red carpet.
That'd be nice.
Wow.
When's your
The
birthday?
knit
For
juleps.
me, it's all about
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it is about me. So the Derby is usually like the weekend. When is it? It's like the
first
first
Saturday.
week of May.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, first Saturday of May, and my birthday's May the 9th.
Oh, nice.
So it's literally like 2 or 3 days before my birthday.
Oh.
And I told them this past year that I'm going to have a big birthday coming up. And I think they actually said,
Did
well,
they
you
take
have
note?
to-" They did take note. Yes. Yes. It will be like an asterisk on every celebration card that they have that it's Janice Dean's 50th birthday too. So and they said you'll have to walk the red carpet, and this year whatever dress that I wear and hat, they're going to put it in the Kentucky Derby Museum.
No kidding.
Yes.
Oh
Yes,
my
they promised
God.
me that.
Cool.
I think we're going to have to rehab this conversation when we're live.
next
Like,
to a horseshoe.
absolutely.
And a
But do you get free
And a mint
mint
julep.
That's
And
the
a
Yeah,
important
and a
thing.
horse. Well, that's personal.
that is a little bit. All right, Maz.
I'm good.
sorry.
I got it. Yep.
We're good.
Go ahead.
Okay. We'll keep going here so we can get started. All right. Anybody have any questions? We'll do the intro. Maz is doing Janice's intro. We'll get to the questions. About 20 minutes into it, I'll take a quick break. I'll do the atmosphere weather read that I do. We'll take a break, and then we'll get right back after that. So, okay? Janice,
Cool.
you good? You ready to roll?
I'm good. Yes.
All right. Let's do this rock and roll. Coming in, 3, 2. Hey, welcome everybody to the most entertaining weather podcast on your listening and viewing device. This is the award-winning Stormfront Freaks podcast. If you happen to be listening for the first time, thanks for checking us out. You got to visit stormfrontfreaks.com. You got to access our library of shows with famous guests from the weather industry, like Eric Solna of the Extreme Weather Experience, and American Ninja Warrior meteorologist Joe Moravsky. Remember those guys? So if you remember Eric, so they've got this concept of like this interactive weather museum. So that was cool to talk to him. And then Joe Moravsky's that American Ninja Warrior who's been in the finals a couple times, but he's also a meteorologist.
That's
So
cool.
that was interesting, yeah. But this is episode 84. We're excited after waiting patiently to get our friend and Fox News senior meteorologist Janice Dean back. She's going to be on the show to talk about our autobiography, Mostly Sunny. So that's going to be fun. And, of course, we've got our lightning round game show to play with Janice and our popular WX resources and a look to see who we're throwing under the bus in our infamous Weather Fools segment. But before we get to all of that, we always got to find out who's on the show with us tonight, who made it from our co-hosts. So it's always happy hour. Tonight we're actually recording a little bit earlier, but what the hell, it's happy hour anyway.
It's
So
5
we're
o'clock
gonna-
somewhere,
It could be
right?
happy
Thank
hour at
you.
11 o'clock in the morning.
I heard
Yes.
that song today, but I'm going to start with MJ. MJ's back. What are you drinking, sir?
You know, I was having some time zone issues today. It is actually 5 o'clock or just after where I am, but I do have a Michelob Amberbach today.
Okay.
Well
All
done.
right, good. Maz, what do we have this evening?
I'm trying to find my bottle of Screech.
Yes.
It's here. Well,
Very nice. Is that from Mostly Sunny?
no. Yes.
I love
Absolutely.
it.
Well, I could be Canadian, eh? You know, I could.
That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Not bad.
Hey, so I've got my Storm by Braxton
Nice.
Brewing
Woo!
Company.
That's awesome, man.
It's good. It's
That's
good. I
my
like
favorite.
it a lot.
Yep, that's a good Braxton brew. All right, Jen, what do you got this evening?
So I am notorious for water or sparkling water, but I'm trying 7, a new brand of sparkling
Wow,
water.
You're out there on the limb.
I know.
Amazing.
It says fruity sangria, but it's non-alcoholic. I'm like 99% sure.
Okay.
It's that
Which is
1%
good.
that gets you.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Dina, what's going on? What are you drinking tonight?
I'm just having a Chardonnay in my Wonder Woman glass.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
I love
Fancy,
that.
but it's good.
Good
I
job.
like it.
Nice.
Good job. And Janice, so we always tell our guests, hey, we don't really have a green room, but if we did, it'd be fully stocked. I'm curious as to what you pulled out of the digital refrigerator.
So this is Canada Dry. I'm representing the Canadians out there.
I love it.
Canada Dry sparkling seltzer water.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually brewed in Canada or made in Canada.
You know, we did put some other alcohol in there you could have mixed it with, but if you want to drink that straight, you're more than welcome to do so as well. That's good.
Listen, I've been known. I know pretty much all of the restaurants and bars that are open literally at 9:01 after Fox and Friends is over in Midtown Manhattan. So whenever you're visiting,
They open specially for you. Okay.
well,
Well,
maybe.
let's do this. Let's give you a good introduction here, Janice. We're gonna Maz, I'm gonna let you do the intro tonight.
Thank you. I am honored to do this, by the way, Janice.
Aw.
I am very excited. Senior meteorologist, Fox and Friends, and author. She's a native of Ontario, Canada. We like to say that, you know?
That's very good.
Thank you. She began her career journey working as a morning show host and reporter at AM Ottawa-based radio station. She joined Fox Network in 2004. Janice now holds the title of Senior Meteorologist for Fox and News and can be seen weekday mornings on Fox and Friends. Inducted into the Meteorologist Hall of Fame on January 1st. I want to know what you were doing the night before that in 2017 in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. She has also authored a series of children's books titled Freddie the Frogcaster. I gave one to my grandson, by the way, who's 1
Good.
year
Very
old.
nice.
It's awesome.
Aw.
And most recently, her autobiography, Mostly Sunny, which I have, and
Woohoo!
I have 9 pages left, so no spoiler, okay?
Oh, I admit it, Janice. I cranked that thing out in 2 days.
You did?
I probably would have done it in a day, but like I have to feed children and go to work. But otherwise, I would have cranked it out in a day.
I'm still so, flattered and honored and amazed that people have read it and like got something and enjoyed it. It's it's a surreal kind of feeling when people say that they've read it.
Well, so I'm going to ask you this, because you just got done here in our little before the show. We were chatting a little bit about your future at the Kentucky Derby, and all that stuff. So here you've been doing this book tour. Now, granted, book tour is probably pretty much over. We're kind of the sloppy seconds of the book tour.
No, you're not.
But so here's the point. You've been talking about how does that feel to have to go around and just talk about yourself again and again and again and again and again? What's that like?
I'm sick of me. I'm not gonna lie. Very sick of me. It's been it's been a weird, because I was talking about it this time last summer. I was still writing. And I wrote the book. I didn't have a ghostwriter. A lot of, biographies, a lot of books written by, people in the media or celebrities, they're written by other people. You sit down and you talk to these people who write for a living and they write your story for you. But I wrote the whole thing, soup to nuts. So it's weird looking back because it almost feels like 10 years ago, because it was, literally I was on summer vacation with my family and they would be in the pool and I would be sitting in the shade still on my laptop writing. And it was a great experience. I think the most nerve-wracking moment would be the few days leading up to when the book came out, because there's a lot in there. When I decided to write a memoir, I thought everything, even stuff that my husband didn't know, when he read it. There's a few chapters in there. Yeah. He knew obviously most of it, but the nitty gritty of a lot of the really personal stuff he didn't know the details of. So it was literally like a few nights before the book came out and I had massive anxiety, and I actually wrote on Twitter. It was a storm night. I know I was in the city. I can't remember which storm it was. Because it was in March, so it was a big winter storm, and I had to stay in the city. And it was like just 3 days out before the book release, and I was in a hotel room. I wasn't at home, and I was feeling that massive amount of anxiety. And I went on Twitter, and I actually was like, if you guys are praying or you're praying tonight, if you could just say an extra prayer for me, I'm really anxious about this book coming out. And it was the truth. And then once it came out and I did my first interview with Fox and Friends, my friends on Fox and Friends, then I was like, okay, you know what? It's out there, and whatever happens, happens, and we'll deal with it. And since then, the response has been overwhelmingly positive and wonderful and supportive. So I am grateful. But man, I revisited moments in my life that were very, very difficult. But I am glad I did, because the outcome was I maybe helped someone feel like they weren't alone.
Janice, when I read your book, I think the reason I could not put it down, and I think that you wrote it so well, is that I found so many comparisons to your career to mine. And I think that's the same for other women. Mm-hmm. And I know your book is called Mostly Sunny and you're trying to stay positive because things are really good. But there's so many instances in the book that you talk about harassment with different bosses, both with Imus and Roger Ailes. And I've been there. And I know a lot of other women have been there. And I like to talk to women about it because I want to know how they handled it and if it worked. And there was certain instances where like Imus was yelling at you and calling you names. I'm like, how did you deal with it?
It was really a moment by moment situation. I knew when I got that job, it should have really been the best job of my life. Here's a kid from Ottawa, Canada, that gets this the opportunity in New York City to work with one of the most famous broadcasters in the industry, and they liked me. They thought I was worthy. And when I was going through the interview process, I was never in the room with him. He was on remote in New Mexico, where he had a vacation home. So I was never in the room with him. And I remember the first day I was there, his his program, the program director and his right-hand guy, Bernie, were like, "Are you sure you want this job?
Mhm.
Do you know who Imus is?" And I thought I took it as a joke, but there was a hint of, they are really asking me if I want this job and if I know who Imus is. And at the time, of course, I knew who he was, but I was never an avid listener. I just remember seeing Howard Stern's Private Parts, the movie, and reading the book and going, Howard Stern didn't really like this guy. Maybe I should do a little more research. However, having said that, being in New York and having this great opportunity, it should have been my best job and the greatest career move for me. I knew probably within 2 weeks of doing that job that it was not the job for me. But I had just moved to New York. I didn't know anyone. I wanted to keep trying. Maybe it gets better. Maybe he gets nicer. And it just progressively kind of got worse. He was abusive to men, but he was more abusive to women. And since I've written that book and the chapter and come out with, some of the things that he used to do, he used to carry a gun with him, and he used to show that he had a loaded gun with him in WFAN. It is scary. When you're going through that, though, it's almost like survival mode, like we all know what's going on. They're not going to do anything because he makes the station too much money. And, we all kind of jokingly looked at each other like, do you think today's the day that we get shot? I mean, it was just like, I look back on it and I didn't know any better, I guess, is the best response. And you just get through it. But meanwhile, I was always trying to meet other people or try to find another job. I was there less than a year. And it, like I said, but he would do these, he would be really awful. And then one day he would be like, "You're doing a good job." And I would be like, there's mostly Sunny. He's being nice to me. He likes me. He really likes me. I'll go another day.
Mhm.
It was almost like he knew when he had to be nice so that you could get up the next day and try it again. And like I said, since I've written that, I have had so many people reach out, former coworkers, women who have worked with him and have just said, thank you. Finally someone says something, and if I hadn't written this book, people who are close to me knew the stories, but I don't know that I would have ever gone public with it. But I thought, again, if someone's asking me to write a book, I'm going to be completely honest and I'm going to go for it and just tell them raw what happened.
Janice, I got to tell you, Dina was right when she said that this is a fast read. And as I've read, now, obviously I haven't read the last 9 pages, so don't go there yet.
That's okay.
But as I look backwards, I mean, can you see how everything that occurred in your life actually led you to where you are today?
Yes.
And to really appreciate, because, if you'd gotten Fox and Friends right out of the gate,
right,
I don't think you really would have appreciated it as much as, everything you've gone through. And you're just like, what? And everything prepared you for the next thing and
Absolutely.
the next thing. And I will tell you, I think I went through almost every single emotion. I mean, I had some tears in there too.
Aww.
All right, so don't make fun of me.
I love man.
Yeah, I
Yes.
did. I cried a couple of times, and I was like,
Sweetness.
"Oh my gosh, Janice!" I just wanted to be like, "Oh, Janice, I gotta give you a hug," or something, just because it was like, "Wow." I never had anything like that happen to me in my career. I'll just tell you. So, yeah.
Well, we've all had stuff, right? I mean, and I
Yeah.
think we can all trace back those moments. And when I started writing the book, that's how I did it. I wrote moments that I knew there was something that happened that led me to the next thing. And truly, I believe that we're all predestined on a path. For me, getting to New York City wasn't because of my career. It was to meet my husband and to have my family. So all of those things, like even though the IMUS job was horrific in so many ways, I am grateful because I met my husband. That's why I'm here today. That's why all of this has happened, to lead me to him and to have our family.
And Janice, I love your honesty in the book, because just like, Dina, I feel like, we've all been through like similar paths, and which is really hard. And so for me, I was an on-camera meteorologist at local TV stations before I got into social media. And I was in Tupelo, Mississippi, by myself for 3 years. But what advice do you have for, young meteorologists who are in a small town away from family, don't have significant others, and, have a boss that's just kind of crazy? Because unfortunately, there are some, news directors that are just, they think they're in a big city and they're not. And, they can tell you, you need to do this and do that. What is your best advice? Because I remember it was so hard sometimes being alone, and a lot of them get sad and depressed sometimes.
Yeah. I was sad and depressed when I moved to New York. And it was like rock bottom really for me when I was in this job that was just not what I was looking for. And I'd moved everything here and put all my eggs in one basket. Right.
Yeah.
For me, because I reached that moment that I was so low, I went and found a therapist. I mean, I found someone, that I could go and talk to. And I dedicated a whole chapter to her, Judy. And I just saw her today, actually. I'm a big believer in therapy. It saved my life in a lot of ways. And I was at that low point, and I found somebody that I could go in and talk to that didn't have judgment. If you talk to your mom or your friends, they know you, right? And they know the people involved. So they have some skin in the game. When I met her, she didn't know me. And so we could have a conversation, and she, it's what she studied. She studies the mind and how our brain muscles work. So I wanted to strengthen my muscles in my mind. And she was really the beginning of me trying to build myself up again. So I say that if you can, if you really feel like you need to talk to somebody, I think, it's out there for you. And I want to take the stigma away from it as well. And, it's important to have someone to talk to, especially at a low point. And also to have female colleagues that you can go to as well. I talk about in the book when I worked at Fox News, even though when I went over to Fox, I had some rough times there because I was harassed as well by Roger Ailes in the very beginning. But I was able to navigate that because throughout my whole broadcasting career, I've had those moments where I've had a supervisor or someone I work with or a coworker that has put me in an awkward situation or where I feel uncomfortable. And I've always been able to walk that line of laughing it off or, making a joke.
You always have the snappy comebacks, Janice.
Mhm.
And it's so quick. I love it.
I'm lucky because I have always been able to navigate my career and being able to get through these rough periods by, somehow coming up with a line or being able to, exit gracefully, I guess. But my point is, I think it's important to have supportive people around you. And I think we as women now more than ever have to support each other.
Yeah.
And I had a pretty good group of women, certainly at Fox, when I was going through some tough times, that we were able to sort of look out for each other. And now more than ever with Me Too, I want to make sure that women know that being there for each other is so important. And instead of tearing each other down or trying to find that next job by stepping on one another, we really need to support one another and be present. I hope now, with all that I know, and have been through, that young women can come to me and feel like I can be their advocate, because I will be their advocate and I will help them.
Janice, I think I found your next book.
What's that?
Well, now think about this. I'm kind of half joking and half not, because first of all, you have such a great quick wit that, like Dean was saying, you're able to come up with stuff. You need a manual for women who have a boss who's a jerk, and it's like, so what do I do when he does this? Chapter 4, Janice says, say this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be something.
Well,
hey, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead, Phil.
Well, so I was going to say this, Maz. You go ahead.
You go ahead.
No, so I was going to bring this up. So, Maz, you talked about this, and I don't know if this is going to spoil it for you, Maz, because I know this was later in the book. But Janice, you talked about when you went up and did the stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm did I spoil
Oh, you
it?
don't know that part?
No, I don't have that part yet.
Actually, that is a really good
It
part,
is near the
because
end, I
I
know.
talk about.
No, don't do it.
You know what? No, I won't get. Okay.
Spoiler, it all turns out good.
So here, a couple questions
Okay.
about that, because I thought that was hilarious. And as Maz was talking about your next book, could be a comedy book, right?
Right.
But, so here's the one thing I'm going to bring up. MJ and I both have a radio background.
Right.
And one of the things, if you've been in radio, you have at least, that one song that's your potty song, right? It's your bathroom song when you're at the station and you got to go and there's no one else to take over the controls of the radio. Right. You got to have your potty song. So do you remember, what are yours? Everyone knows their potty song. What were yours?
Inagata Davida.
And how long was that?
I think that's 11 minutes long.
There you go.
There's some couple of Rush songs. Okay, Inagata Davida is a big one.
So explain to everybody then what's the bathroom? What's the potty song? Why do you have to have one if you're on the radio?
Right, because in the old days, it's not like that anymore. When we used to spin tunes, it was live. So we're actually spinning music. When I first got into radio, I had records, like real vinyl.
Yeah, baby. 45.
And so you had to be there to spin 33. And like mix, right? And then it went into DVDs, but you still had to be in the room to like make sure that the music kept going. And then if you had a break, you had to like come on and say, that was Led Zeppelin. And coming up, I've got some Van Halen, and finish what you started. So you go on the air and then you play your commercials. And you're it, man. You're the one in there that's making sure everything flows and goes together and is on the air. And the worst, one of the deadly sins is dead air, right? So, and if you're in the bathroom too long and your song runs out, you are in the middle of dead air, and that's when your program director calls you and is like, "Where are you? What are you doing?" So when you have the long songs, when you got your list of long songs, you got to go to the bathroom. Or back then, I mean, I was a smoker, so I was having a smoke break in the back. So you have a few minutes that you can like do whatever you need to do,
Yeah.
Some of those songs are 11, 12 minutes long.
You got to get your long songs.
The song Finish What You Started is an actual bathroom song, isn't it? I mean,
I was just thinking this thing.
So MJ, I don't know what yours was. Mine was, I worked at a country radio station, and they did have, and again, this was early 90s, they did have Gordon Lightfoot's Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which is like a 5.5 6 minute long. That was my bathroom song. Yes, you're right.
Fine Canadian, by the way.
Yes. What was yours?
American Pie.
Oh yes,
that's
a
great
good
song.
one. Yep.
Good one.
There's a few.
Another comedy question. So part of your comedy routine was the top 5 X-rated weather terms, which is hilarious. Now, Maz, I can tell you right now, is probably blushing. He's going to turn his camera off because he hates this when we get into this stuff. But do you remember
some good ones.
What they were? Do you remember some of them? What were they? Because I have a question about them, but do you remember what they were? We'll cover that. We'll take a quick break. But
yeah. I got to refresh my memory.
So I'll help you out.
Rear end inflow.
Rear end inflow. Yep, that's one of them. Look at Maz.
It's the beer.
Bulging top.
Vertically erect system.
Yes.
Vertically erect system. Maz covered that on TV all the time. Yep.
That's a VES, like a vasectomy, really. VES.
You also had Panhandle Hooker.
That's right.
Panhandle Hooker.
Right?
That's fantastic.
Bulging
that.
top.
Panhandle hooker used to be my nickname in high school. No, I'm kidding.
And then your number one was choking downdraft.
Right.
Oh.
God.
Maz.
Oh,
and I know
man.
Maz covered these all the time on TV. He just
I'm not even going to
remember
read the
thinking.
rest of your book.
But here's
I'm
my
telling you.
question.
It's
Where's
X-rated.
Haboob? Where's
I
Haboob?
know.
I know. There you
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Haboob.
I mean,
That's a good one.
I saw the Weather Channel like actually doing what is a haboob the other day. I think, right?
Yes,
Ooh,
yes.
gosh.
Oh, we talk about
Probably.
Has
boobs all the
Stephanie
time.
Abrams done that yet?
Was that
Or-
Weather Channel After Hours?
No, we actually
Wow.
legitimately talk about. Well, we use because I just left there 3 months ago. We talk about haboobs all the time.
I can believe Stephanie on that one. She's
Weather
she's
Channel
on
After
that.
Dark.
I love
That's
Stephanie.
I love Stephanie too.
She
Yeah.
is so amazing. She's got a great sense of humor too. You can
Oh yeah,
Oh.
she does.
All right.
Oh,
Hey,
very
on
quickly.
that note, I here's what I want to know. What's the weather app you go to in the morning to decide if you're wearing clothes or wearing the air? Right. That's a good segue. Everyone's talking, right? Because everyone's talking about with the humidity lately. Everyone's wearing the air. You don't need clothes if you can wear the air. But if it's not the Atmosphere Weather app, you're wasting time finding information. It shows the entire daily forecast each hour on one screen around a 24-hour clock with a weather radar right in the center. It's amazing all the information you can just get on one screen. And now it comes with a cool little hourly weather widget for your home screen. And that's not like that's not a little person. It's a little thing that you cool little weather. You guys know what a weather widget is? It's those little things on your home screen, right? That shows you. Yeah. So people don't know what that is. But give it a free spin. Search Atmosphere Weather in your iOS or Android app store, and you can visit atmosphereweather.com if you want to learn more. But we're going to take a quick break. Go ahead, refill your drink, and check out our exclusive tracker chat with the Tornado Trackers as they cover part 3 about the best practices during the best chase days. Go ahead and check that out. We'll be right back. All right, cool.
How did
All right.
that half an hour go by so fast?
Yeah, that
Oh
was
my
really
gosh.
quick.
Am I
I
going to
have
get
like
in
100
trouble
more questions for you, Janice.
for all those
No, yeah, we
dirty
got,
weather terms?
No.
I know.
no. So I'll share this with you. So
Please.
we've had Janice. We've had in the past. One of our game shows. We'll do match game, right? And we'll use things like, hey, I was talking to my wife the other day about I was outside last night and I caught a haboob, and my wife said you did blank, or something. what
Yeah.
So fun things like that. And then we also did. These are Maz's favorite.
Yeah.
Rick, you got to talk to Rick Reichman.
Oh my gosh.
I love him.
With Rick, his lightning round
Yeah.
was because he apparently likes to cook a lot and grill
Yes,
and make food and
yes.
everything. So his lightning round was famous burgers in the U.S. So it's the name of a famous burger somewhere across the country, right? And what they name the burger.
Yeah.
Or it's a position in the Kama Sutra. And so he had to say, so I'd give him a name.
That's right.
I'd give him a name, and he'd have to say either that's a burger or it's a position. We called it burger position.
Oh my
Did I
God.
just say that out loud?
Didn't we have with Joe Moravsky? Didn't you do?
Yeah.
Yes, and then American Ninja Joe Moravsky, we did either it was the name of one of the American Ninja Warrior
Yes.
obstacles
Obstacles,
because they
yeah.
give
Yeah.
them names,
Right.
or it was the name of an adult toy.
Boy.
And it was hilarious because he'd go through those and I'd name something and he'd like, wow, and he's like, I'm never gonna look at the name of these obstacles the same again because
That's
they sounded so
fantastic.
dirty.
That's
It was
awesome.
funny.
Okay,
The
so
only-
I don't feel bad.
No,
The
that's
only
why
2
we-
times I was sweating on the air here. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Like, oh, my
He was-
pastor's
he was
watching.
covering it.
Your pastor is
Amen.
one.
Yeah, I'm
You're
like,
fine.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll come back. We'll come back and okay. So we'll come back. I'll ask a quick question, and then you guys can keep going.
Yeah.
And then I will in the chat. I'll kind of say, hey, we got to start wrapping it up, and we'll go to the lightning round.
Okay.
So we'll play the lightning round, and then we'll go to another break, and that'll be it. Sound
Oh
good?
my God.
You got a little
I know,
nervous
that's
about the
awesome.
lightning round now.
What's
yeah,
that?
she's probably nervous about the lightning round.
Yeah.
Yours is okay. Yours is cool.
Okay, good. All good.
I'm trying to behave a little bit more for Maz nowadays, but
Thanks.
I love those haboobs.
there's no
Gotta love
guarantees.
it.
I have no
All
comment.
right, here we go. So I'll come back with a question. Then once you answer, everybody else can keep going. All right, 3, 2. All right, welcome back, everybody. Hey, so we're here with Fox and Friends, Janice Dean, who's just authored Mostly Sunny. And so, question, Janice, is you've been on this big book tour. Do you have any great stories on this book tour, either of interviews you've had or at book signing, some of the people you've met?
Oh.
You've got to have some good stories. Can you share at least one of those with us?
Let
You
me
don't have to
think.
give names if you don't want, but
No, you know
it's
what?
okay if you do.
I will say my husband came to The View. I did The View. I'm very good friends with Megan McCain and Abby Huntsman, who are on The View. And, they went right to the questions about Imus and Ailes.
Mhm.
And so my husband afterwards, he looked like a ghost because I, basically told the story about Imus and the gun. And he came out one time and, he pointed the gun at the traffic reporter and he used to name the bullets after us too.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. I used to take the bullets out and name the bullets after us. And so I told that story and then I told a really, uncomfortable Roger. And he called me at home one time and said, was talking about the possible job he was going to offer me, and then said, "And how are you at phone sex?" And I was like, "What? What did what was that?" And he repeated it again, and I made a joke. I said, "Oh, Roger, Mr. Ailes, this is not a 1-900 number." And then he took it as a joke and then moved on. That's the way it went. So of course, when I'm on The View, someone asked me, well, what did he say? And so I said, well, there was one time, he asked me for phone sex, and my husband was just like, oh my God. Like his, even though he knew the story, he was just like, his life flashed before his eyes, and all he could see was like headlines of, sorry to bring the room down. But that just stands out to me because it was one of those moments where it was, it was surreal, because that would have been an amazing moment looking back 10 years from now. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be on The View. I mean, I had a show back home in Canada called The Broad Perspective that was 4 women talking about events that was based on The View. So if you had told me 10, 15 years ago that I was going to be on The View, but I was going to be talking about having phone sex with like a boss. Oh my gosh. So yeah, so Sean just was like, he couldn't talk for several hours. He was just like, I'm in like this warped sense of reality right now. And my mom was also in the audience, so that was also, she knew the stories. But man, you're on a major television program talking about this very embarrassing, terrible moment in your life, and your husband and your mom are in the audience, and you're broadcasting to millions of people. So I wish I had a funnier story than that, but that certainly stood out to me as sort of like, oh my gosh, like I'm really letting it out there. I'm really telling the story. But having said that, if I could just say this, Fox News is not the place it used to be. And my dealings with Roger, that was really the worst of it. And that's bad, obviously. But a year later, he and I were able to have a good working relationship, and he never did that stuff. So I always thought he wanted to maybe have an affair with me, and I kept brushing him off, and finally he understood what I was saying. So going forward, we had a very good relationship, and he had a side to him that was very wonderful and supportive. And when I went through my MS diagnosis, I was diagnosed with MS. He was very supportive. So I think now we like to look at things as black and white, like, oh, he's a terrible person, like he's so evil. But he wasn't all evil. He had some very good characteristics and he loved his family. And so it's this gray area, my point is it's been an interesting journey having released this book and having to talk about situations that were very difficult, but also, saying that you can survive them and you can get past them, with the support of other people. And like I mentioned, Fox is a very different place now. And we have been through a complete overhaul. And we have the only woman CEO in broadcasting in the business. So, that's a good thing. I also want to say real quick, I know I'm taking up a lot of time, but I mentioned the women. I mentioned women coming together and being supportive of one another. But I have had wonderful men in my life as well that have not crossed that line or crossed that boundary, that have been so supportive and have helped me through, terrible situations. My husband being one of those people. So my respect and props to all of the men out there that are good men and who are proper men and know how to treat women.
And real men.
Yeah.
It's neat to hear the stories about some of the people that you're working with. And like when you talked about Cavuto, because I like Cavuto. And then I'm like, oh, he's a stud. I like him even more now.
He's awesome. Yeah, Neil's one of the very best people in my life. And, I talk about my MS diagnosis. And if it wasn't for Neil, I don't know if I would be as open talking about my diagnosis, because he did it. And I was so lucky. Obviously that was a dark moment in my life when I was diagnosed with an illness that's a chronic illness, and we don't have a cure for it. I thought my career was going to be over. I was so lucky that I had somebody in the business right down the hall from me that I could go talk to, that had been very open about his diagnosis and was still doing what he loved to do, and setting an example and being a trailblazer. So he's one of my angels, like that really was able to take me from a dark period and tell me everything is going to be okay. And I'm going to be here supporting you and cheering you on. And so I think it's important to be those kinds of role models that you tell. We're in this business of television where everything looks perfect and everybody looks perfect and their lives look perfect. It's nice to sometimes pull back the curtain and say, these people have real life challenges. And I think when you do that, people feel connected to you, that you're a real person for them.
I think that's why your book was so good, because I felt like I connected with you on so many levels because you were so honest about it. And you told the worst of the worst. And there's times I'm like, oh my God, I'm reading this. And you're like, you want to stand up for you. And then that makes you want to stand up for other women. And then other women see that we all have problems. We can get through them. Mm-hmm. It's weird. I've had my own IMIS type thing. Mm-hmm. And it's weird, when you leave that and you find good people, especially good men, you're almost second guessing it. Mm-hmm. You're like, are you really good? Mm-hmm. And then after time goes on, you're like, okay, there's some really good people out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get through it with good people. That's the bottom line, is even through the IMIS thing, there were people there that really were there for me, that I cried on their shoulder, and eventually it was those good people that got me out of that situation as well. Yeah.
Did your husband Sean ever get okay with having his name mentioned on air?
With IMIS?
Anything, because I don't want him coming after me as a fireman.
My husband is very shy. Like, he doesn't. It's funny that that because I'm so like da 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 da.
That's from Bugs Bunny, isn't it?
And I've always sort of been like that. Like, when I was a kid, I opened the book about, me interviewing like kids on the street, like, hey, tell me, what's your name? Give me, what's the weather like? I've always wanted to do that. So he's gotten a little bit better over the years, coming on once in a blue moon, if it's my birthday, coming on. But no, he'd rather be behind the scenes, behind the curtain.
And I love the serendipitous moment, or just how everything fell into place for you guys to meet, like how it all happened. Like the waves were so big, the swells were so big, so you ended up going on a hike, meeting that couple, and then like she was going to go in the hot tub, almost lost the number. Like
it's a great story, greatest love story.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? So I don't I don't want to take up a whole lot of time, but. So my husband and I were kind of a blind date. My husband was in Hawaii by himself, surfing, doing, a lifelong dream of being in Hawaii and surfing. The surf was too high one day and decided to go on a hike in Kauai. And he met my friends Leanne and Tony, who are Canadian from Ottawa. They were on their honeymoon, and they met and they connected and they did the hike together. And at the end, they were leaving, like saying their goodbyes. And Sean ran to his truck to say, I want to give you a t-shirt, a Firehouse t-shirt, for being so kind to me. And Leanne was like, well, why don't you just come to dinner with us? So they went to dinner. And that's when they kind of got to talking about, her knowing me, that had just moved to New York and I didn't know anyone. And, are you single type of thing?
You're awfully cute. Are you single?
Right. Are you single? And she was the one who called me and said, Tony and I just got back from our honeymoon and we met this fireman. He's from New York and you need to call him. He's so great. And I was like, oh, I hate New York. Why would I call this guy? And the moral of the story is, we connected, we went to breakfast, and a wonderful thing just 2 weeks ago, we went to Hawaii with our family and went to the trail where Sean met Leanne and Tony. And that was a really special moment, because if it wasn't for that trail and if it wasn't for that moment, then, I wouldn't be here. I probably would have moved. I wouldn't have stayed in New York.
Tony needs an award all by himself. I'm sorry. On the honeymoon, hey, I'm going to invite another guy to dinner with us. I'd be like, what the?
I know.
Yeah, it really is it's such a great story. I love it. And Leanne is like the world's greatest matchmaker.
They're still married?
Yeah, they are, but still married.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Good.
It would have been cool though if the waves were too high because of Hurricane Janice.
Oh, that's funny.
That would have been even like,
there must have been some kind of weather for that to happen, for those big waves to happen. So it all is connected, my friends.
I love that.
Weather is the impetus for everything.
So let's talk about the Kentucky Derby really quick.
Yeah.
Now we talked a little bit beforehand. So you haven't been in 4 years, but you're probably going to be going this next year.
So no, actually, I've gone every year for 4 years.
Oh,
4 years
okay. I thought you said you hadn't. Okay.
No. So, so this will be my 4th year at the Kentucky Derby. And I talk about the Kentucky Derby, I believe, in the last 7 pages, by the way.
Seriously?
Because that's one of my highlights, doing what I do, is being able to do something as amazing as that, is going to Kentucky Derby. So yes, this will be my 50th birthday year.
Woo! Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to celebrate it loud and proud, my friends. And I had told the organizers, we went and did like a tour of the Kentucky Derby Museum, and there are some outfits of like famous celebrities there that have gone to the Derby and what they've worn in their hats. Like I believe Cyndi Lauper is there, and I think the Queen has a hat. Mm-hmm. So I said to the woman, I said, listen, I got a big birthday next year. Like, do you think you could like put my outfit in the Kentucky Derby Museum? She's like, yes, we will.
That's awesome.
So yeah, no, I'm excited about that.
That's neat. That's neat.
So you're lining up your designer right now, I would imagine.
Listen,
you know what? Give it up.
I don't have it yet. You know what I'm thinking though? Here's a little secret. I'd like my dress and my hat to be a weather theme.
Yes.
Yes.
Like sunshine, mostly
like
sunny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yellow.
So if there's any designers out there that want to like do a weather themed outfit and hat,
it's going to be in the Kentucky Derby Museum. Yeah,
that's right.
I can't wait to see it.
Gucci's on line 1.
Okay, well, hey, that's the sound. It is time for our lightning round. So this is a game show of flashy questions for our guest, sort of. That's maybe not the theme today, but we invite everybody to go ahead and play along with us. So Janice, we did last time you were on the show, we actually played a little bit of Name That Tune. I listened to it actually a little bit today, and the audio was horrible. My God,
it was.
Oh my God, it was so bad. But here's what you said in your book. You said something about you kind of taunted people by saying you can play the first 2 seconds of any riff song, and I can name the song and name the artist of any classic rock song. Do you remember saying that? So we're gonna put you to the test on that. I don't know if you're ready for this. So we're gonna play. So we are gonna play. We're gonna go ahead and play Name That Tune.
You got this, Janice.
All right.
You got this.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I've got some classic rock songs. I'm gonna play the first few seconds, and then I'm gonna see if you can get it. And if you can't, I'm gonna play it a little bit longer. See if our freaks can maybe happen to pick it out.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
What era are we talking about?
This classic rock can kind of cover a little bit, but I tried to be pretty specific to mostly 70s, but there's some 80s in here.
Okay. All right. Good.
So I tried to avoid the 60s.
You want the
although
song,
that was probably while
you
you were on the air, it was probably 60s and 70s.
Are you talking about me?
No, because classic rock.
Whoa.
Because I was on the radio at the same time. I'm with you, right? It was not. It was not probably 80s because I was playing in the 80s. Right?
I would play like a Van Halen from the 80s or
so
Aerosmith.
It was the new stuff. Hey, we're also spinning the new stuff here on Classic Rock 500. Right.
SFF.
All right, so here we go. Here is the first song. I'll play a couple seconds. We'll see if you can get this one.
That's Eric Clapton. Cocaine.
Cocaine, you got it. Very good. All right, next one.
Just a hint.
Next one.
Joe Walsh.
And all right, freaks, you know the name of the song?
It's Joe Walsh. Keep doing.
That would be Rocky Mountain Way.
Yes.
Dang it.
Yes.
That would be Rocky Mountain Way. Okay. All
I got
right,
the next one.
But I got
Coming
Joe
up.
Walsh.
Coming up.
You did. Good job. Got it.
Dude, Aerosmith, Walk This Way.
You better know that one. Very good.
Wait,
I saw your
been the
picture with Steven Tyler.
Run DMC.
Yes, that's a great story.
Could
Oh,
have
it could have been, yeah.
It could have been, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Next one.
Steve Miller Band.
Very good. Steve Miller Band, Fly Like an Eagle. You got that one. All right, this one's a little bit newer when it comes to classic rock, but
Little ditty.
Little ditty, but Jack and Ed, John Mellencamp.
oh gosh, with a little help from your friends, you got that one.
That's
All
right.
right,
Yeah.
Beatles
Moving
will
on.
help your friends.
Moving on.
God, this is... Smoke on the Water, Deep Purple.
Very good. Very good. Next.
Yeah, The Who, Baba O'Reilly.
Very
Who?
good.
Who was it?
The Who, Baba O'Reilly.
Who?
Oh my God.
Yes.
Turn it up, Leonard Skinner. Sweet Home Alabama.
You got it. Sweet Home
Good job.
Alabama. Very good. All right, 3 more.
3 more. Where? That's Kiss.
Kiss.
Rock
Yep.
and roll.
Rock and roll all night. Very good. All right.
Great song. Great song. Ooh.
DCR. DCR.
Yeah.
Fortunate Son.
Fortunate Son. Very
great.
good.
Good job.
All right, last one.
Oh yeah, ZZ Top. She's
Yeah.
What's the name?
got legs.
Nope.
No. Sharp Dressed Man.
Sharp Dressed Man.
Go crazy about it,
How good is that? How good am I?
That's
I know.
good.
That's awesome.
Oh,
I
very
can do
good.
that.
You rock that. I will have to go to bat for you and say that yes, you can name those songs.
You know what
That's
I
very
want you
good.
to do for me? I
What?
want you to, if you could compile that clip so that
Yes.
I can like put that on my social media so people know that I am that good.
You got it.
And
All right.
cool.
I'll send you a clip of that. All right.
It's
So
as
well
if
done.
this whole show is about Janice or something. You know?
So Janice, do us this. How can our listeners follow you on social media?
What is this over now?
I know.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, are you kidding me? They can find me on social media at Janice Dean for Twitter. I think I'm going to take a break from Twitter. I don't know. And then Instagram, which I like, is Janice Dean FNC, and then the Facebook thing is Janice Dean as well.
Okay.
Awesome.
That sounds good. I will say this, Janice, so that everybody knows this. We've had and we still have coming up some authors in the weather industry, and we've typically reached out to the publishers, and they've supplied us either books or digital books for us to read prior to them coming on the show, and sometimes even books that we can hand out and distribute in contests, things like this. But I will say this, Janice, about you, because both when we had you on the first time with your Froggy the
Freddie.
Freddie the
Frogcaster
Frogcaster books,
yeah.
and now with Mostly Sunny, you just said, hey, what do you need, and what are the addresses of your co-hosts,
Oh,
and you just arranged all of that, and you just sent it to us yourself.
That was
And-
nice. Thank you.
And I just that really says a lot about you, just with that one little simple thing that you did. But I just want to thank you for that, because
And you
that was
hand
really
wrote
amazing.
everything. And by the way, thanks for the perfume in mine. The perfume was excellent. I
Oh.
appreciate that.
I didn't get that.
Yes.
I didn't get that. So all
Thank
right,
you.
we're
Don't tell
gonna
Sean.
we're gonna take our final break with our Tornado Talk segment and the story of the 1966 Candlestick Park Mall F5 tornado in South Jackson, Mississippi. We'll also be right back with our WX resources and our weather fools. So stay tuned. All right, so Janice, before you go, I'm going to do something that we didn't have a chance to do. So if you're watching this on Stormfront Freaks Raw, you're going to get a little bonus here. So Janice, we didn't have time to do this, but since we've had you on last time, we have purchased at a garage sale something called the Weather Trollbot 5000.
Okay.
And so it was definitely on sale. But what the Weather Trollbot 5000 does is we'll input trolling scenarios with our weather friends where someone's trolling them, and they had a nice professional response, back to them. But then we input that into the Weather Trollbot 5000, and she kicks out what that person was really thinking when they sent that nice, sweet, professional reply.
Right.
So you covered this in your book, and it started at the very beginning with Neil the bully, the kid that would spit at you on the bus. You remember what you told Neil in your book? What'd you tell Neil?
Yeah, you suck, Neil.
Yeah, you suck, Neil. That we said. So I went back and I looked at. You talked about a couple other scenarios. One was Joanne on Facebook. Okay, and Joanne said, "Dear Janice, please stop allowing Fox to dress you in those short skirts. They're not flattering on you. You're an attractive lady, love the 80s hair, but your legs are distracting every time you walk on the screen." And here was your nice, professional, very nice reply. You said, Fox doesn't dress me, I dress myself. I'm sorry if you don't like my legs. I'm grateful to have them to walk with. You're right, I don't look like a typical person on TV, and I'm proud to be a size 10. Imagine that. You can always turn the channel if you're offended by my huge legs. Hope you don't mind. I may share your post with everyone on my Facebook page.
And in my book.
In your book, right? So here's what we do. So I'm going to take that information, and what I do is I gotta put that into Weather Trollbot, because then we got to figure out what you were really thinking.
Look at Matt's face right now.
It calculates. All right, so let's see.
Here's what Janice Dean was really thinking. Like you, I dress myself sweetheart. And with a name like Joanne, odds are strong you are not walking the runway with legs of a thoroughbred. Know someone before throwing rocks. You do not know me. I am blessed to be able to walk and dance on my legs. Maybe you think my middle finger looks better with this dress? Yep, this middle finger is for you, Joanne. So fuck off.
Okay, wow, a little risque there, Janice. Is that what? Now I'll say this: every time we do this, we don't actually have the weather person with us, while Weather Trollbot is trying to interpret what they were really thinking. So you can tell us. I mean, was that close, or was there really a reason why we got Weather Trollbot on sale?
It was like
what Weather Trollbot kicked out. What she thought you were really thinking? Was that close to maybe what you're really
best
thinking?
friends with Weather Trollbot. I think she is 100% correct.
Phil, I cried the first time I read that in the book. Thanks for making me relive it, buddy.
Oh,
twice now.
I'm sorry.
Listen.
I hate trolls. I hate trolls
love you
so
all.
bad. I hate them. So I just
Where'd you get that thing? Like, that's crazy.
that sale. I just had a garage sale, and it was this
electronic device.
little 1950s
Yes, it
looking
is.
wind up. It's a wind up electronic device. Yeah, no, it's.
Oh my
it's all
God! You got to
make-believe.
tell me like
It's
the
all
behind the
make-believe.
scenes stuff. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
All right.
I love you, Weather Trollbot.
So Janice, thank you again for taking the time and
Thanks,
spending
Janice.
time with us. We love.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Janice, so much.
Listen, so let's do another
Yes.
one.
Absolutely.
So maybe we could do it like here's
So
what
if you
I
got
think.
something coming
If you
out,
can.
can we like be on the
Yes,
front
I
end
do.
of that this time?
Yes. So
and
you're
help
hilarious.
you get back on the
No.
New York Times
Yes.
bestseller list?
The paperback comes out in March, and all of the Freddy the Frogcaster paperbacks also come out in March.
Okay.
Yes, and
Okay.
Freddy, the first Freddy, is going into schools to help teachers
Now
Nice.
that's cool.
teach weather
Sweet.
lessons.
That's
yes.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
so,
amazing.
How's that
Yeah, so
working?
let's do-
So how does that work?
So,
What schools or?
We don't know yet, but the publisher
Okay.
basically sold the rights to a big educational publisher, and they've actually made like copies that they're going to give out in classrooms, and they have like an aid for the teachers and an audio component. So
Sweet.
I mean, listen,
Yeah.
life.
Awesome.
I'm so glad that Freddie has expanded in ways I never thought he would expand. So
Okay.
My daughter
yeah.
loves the books, by the way.
Aw,
Mhm. Very cute.
yay!
Yeah, they are. So
So you
okay,
tell-
so March.
Let's
Sometime
do
in
it.
March or
Yeah, early March is when the paperbacks come
Okay.
out.
Okay.
Yeah, want to do it?
All right.
Yeah.
That works. I'll send you some dates.
Sounds
Get
good.
some Pinot Grigio by then, would you?
You know, hey, I'll say this: we actually have our 100th episode coming up in March.
really?
It's early March.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go.
Yeah, we weren't gonna necessarily be in New York, but it'd be cool if we could get together and
Why don't you? Can you do that?
I don't know,
I can.
Yeah.
I can like find a
we could do a live
place.
show somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
That
a
would be
Very
fun.
cool.
I'm up
Wow.
for it.
I'm sure
Well-
that they would tape it at our Fox radio station if you wanted to come up and do it
Cool.
there.
Is Cavuto going to be there?
I can make sure that he's there. I know that you have a secret crush on him.
Yeah, man,
Man
crush.
crush.
Holy cow!
He's a stud too.
Mm.
I
You
like
guys
it.
are awesome.
All right,
nice
so
to meet you.
Janice, thank you very much.
Oh, you
Yeah.
guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Janice,
Love
thank
you.
you.
Love you all.
And then,
You're
just so
awesome.
you know, the audio podcast will edit that and post it like Sunday-ish, so you'll see it
Yes.
on social media.
And
I'll
I
tag
do.
you
I
and all
want that music montage because people
Yeah,
don't
and I'll do
believe
that.
I
Yep,
can do
I'll
that.
send that to you. I'll get you
I
some.
love
All right.
you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. See you.
Bye, Jen.
Bye,
Bye.
Janice.
Good job.
Bye.
All right. So, all right. Coming up, Weather Fools. Dina, you're doing Weather Fools.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
good.
if you can introduce that.
Who's got a weather fool? Phil?
I've got 3.
Phil.
Wait, I've got listener contribution.
Oh.
I forgot to
Okay.
practice screen sharing. Oops.
I know.
Yeah.
Actually, that's why I didn't, because I kind of practiced.
Serious? I know.
Good
He
news.
shamed
That's
us.
gonna.
He
Good
shamed
news.
us.
Oh, go ahead.
I know.
He shamed us.
Okay.
Good news. That's going to change in the future here. So we'll talk about that at the end of the show.
Easier than one
It's
button.
going to
Is that
change
what
in
you're
the
saying?
future because we're not going to have you do it.
Right.
We are disallowing anybody that can't screen share. We're just going to cut you.
That's actually really funny.
My plan has worked.
You're fired.
You're fine.
No, yeah, MJ will share some new news that we got coming up here at the end. But all right, so I've got 3. MJ's got a listener contribution.
And
That's
I
it
have
for
one
Weather
too,
Fools?
yeah.
Oh, yep, Dina,
I have
you got
one
one.
too.
Okay.
Nice.
And then if you can finish Dina with episode 84, go to stormfrontfreaks.com, look at the show notes, or the show notes can be right on your podcast app on your phone. Alrighty, and then WX Resources, Jen, introducing that, what that is. Could be a product, could be a website, could be photos, could be whatever.
Weather tattoos?
Could be. Heck,
Yes.
we're pretty open.
have one.
we're
True facts.
You have
equal
one?
opportunity WX Resource.
No, not a tattoo, a weather.
Oh, I was like, where?
WX on my ass.
I thought you were serious.
A lightning bolt.
Boob?
No, I
Sorry.
really don't.
So Dina, you have a resource. Who
Yeah,
else
I
has a
do.
resource?
I've got 2.
Nice.
Phil, you
try-
just come with a lot.
I'm trying to lead from the front.
Well
That's what
done.
I'm
Yes,
trying to do.
Thank you. Yeah, I know that.
All right.
I love you, Mass.
Okay. Anybody else? And then Jen's got one. So, and then Jen again, finish with episode 84. Show notes are located on stormfrontfreaks.com or right on your podcast app. And then we'll turn over to MJ for our Freak Fan Box. He
Got
should
it.
have a few because
We've got a few.
We haven't
For
done
me.
it here for a week or so. And then I'll
I'm
close
ready.
it out, and we're good. How's everybody doing? Feeling good?
I love
Great.
these early shows. Let me just say.
I bet you do.
I
Yeah.
kind of like them too, by the way.
Yeah.
They're okay. They're okay.
We can talk about it. I don't know if that's doable on a regular basis.
Regular basis.
Makes life so much
Don't you,
easier.
you guys, yeah, your kids. You're out. Don't you have kids with activities?
Well, actually, no,
and-
it is harder
and-
with, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
So
this
which
time's
is it,
tough.
Jen? Which is it?
Then I'm not going to bed for an hour and a half and then getting up.
Right, no, I know. I that I get. That
I get
Yeah.
that for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus
easily.
drinking so early. Now I can't go mow or anything.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to count Dina in. Is everybody good? Ready to roll? No, I'm counting Dina in. Sorry.
Okay.
Here we go. 3, 2.
Welcome to the part of the show called Weather Fools. It's a part of the show where when you do stupid stuff and you get caught on camera, we get to find it and make fun of you. I mean, it's the best part of it. So, Phil, you came to the show with like 3 Weather Fools. You came armed.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Weather fools are just constantly coming at me on a regular basis. It's like water nowadays.
Like a magnet.
It just about. So first one I'm going to cover was James Spann on Twitter. You guys familiar with James? So James Spann, @Spann on Twitter. So he was talking about after Hurricane Barry came through down on the coast. This was Panama City Beach. He's got a photo of people doing the human chain to save a swimmer. But this was during a double red flag beach day because of the surf levels and the what's the undertow
Riptide,
That's what it is. So the riptides because of Hurricane Barry that went through. And so the question is, who's the, I hope to God they saved you. And my guess is I'm sure they did.
Yeah, I think
hope
they did.
But here's the truth. This wasn't the only one, number one, that I found out about. There were multiple times that people had to be saved, and on double red flag days when you are not supposed to go into the water, and we got morons still doing it. So I hope they're safe. I thought I did remember reading somewhere along the coast that it wasn't all good stories at the end, but just don't go out, guys. Come on. I mean, people are trying to work hard to inform you of risks and dangers, and so they're still.
You can see it really well in that picture too.
Yeah, you kind of can. You can see where the waves really kind of aren't breaking much.
Yeah.
Yep. And so right where that human chain is heading out, that's you can
So
kind of
scary.
tell.
It's amazing they got those people like in that line so quickly.
That's true.
Yeah.
And here's what's also amazing. There was that many people on the beach during
Yeah.
a double
On
red
that
flag
time,
day.
right?
It's like
A
tsunamis.
little
They're like, hey,
scary.
let's go to the beach and
Yeah.
check it out.
Well, and if one person in the middle lets go, now you've lost 20 people.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
I'm just
true.
saying,
Another
I'm
problem.
like, oh,
Another
Bob,
problem.
don't let go.
All right, so the other weather fool I got comes from one of our friends, Brian Miner, on Twitter at BDM Photo. He made a comment. Apparently, in Kansas City, in downtown Kansas City, they had I guess it's a sculpture. It's a moving sculpture. It's called, what's it called? It's called moving
Sculpture.
motion, reflecting motion, KC. So it was this sculpture that had all these hanging, dangling, silver, just
Daggers.
pieces, almost daggers.
It looks
And
like
if you look at the picture, yeah, you can see all of the lines that are holding it up, the steel cables that are holding this thing up. But, it would move with the wind and with all that kind of stuff. It would move. And it was funny because Brian's tweet, this was back on May 15th, said, "I'm totally looking forward to watching how secure this installation is during severe weather." Well, of course, what happened was this is sometime around mid-July. They had a storm. Kansas City had a storm come through. Bam! It took this reflecting motion sculpture. It took it down, and they just decided not to put it back up because the cost of trying to put it back up and everything else outweighed the benefits. And partly they probably just realized it's not going to stay up. So why do we even put it up anymore?
Isn't it like a reverse bed of nails? It's coming down on you like.
Right.
I mean,
know.
that's scary.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Scary.
so just weather fool of people putting that up in downtown Kansas City in the middle of the plains during the spring months. I mean, it's like, come on.
But we love
Really?
Kansas City. We do.
We do. I love it.
Yep.
I love
Yep.
it. All right,
And
and,
the
then
Royals.
the last one. This was from Tornado Videos on Twitter.
So stupid.
So Tornado Videos, it's at Videos Tornado. So they just, I don't know, it's kind of, they switched their name around. But so here's a picture. This was in, where is this at? Nebraska, Maz.
Yes.
This is in Nebraska. So here's a guy that's just teeing off at a driving range, and straight ahead of him, there's a tornado. There's
And
one
he's
right
so
there in front of
stupid.
him.
Dude, that's a tornado.
You know, and it's,
tornadoes don't stop me, man.
it's still a ways out there. I mean, he's probably not in any immediate danger, but come on. I mean, you're going to like
the
show how
lightning
cool you are.
yeah, the lightning
That's probably a good
I
point.
remember that one. That was the one that was either an AF2 or 3. No, 4. It was 4.
But
It'd have been
All
fun
right,
if the ball he hit
so that's my weather fool for you.
All right, MJ,
Weather
you have a
fools.
listener one, don't you?
yes, I've got a contribution. I don't have a screenshot on this one because it's just kind of a static picture. But Luna Light, one of our favorite
Woo.
viewers and listeners, faithfully listens to it or watches us on Thursday nights, or I guess for her it's Friday mornings. 'Cause she's in
Oh.
Germany.
Thanks, Luna.
Yeah, thanks,
absolutely.
Luna.
So she
Hey,
has a
change
weather
your video,
fool.
MJ. Oh,
Somebody
it's
didn't
on me, and I know
practice.
I look good, but while you're talking, let's get you on. Maybe.
All right, how's that? That's better.
Now it's on you.
So, U.S. town rejects solar panels amid fears they suck energy from the sun, cause cancer, and will harm house plants.
Oh my.
What
Or
is this?
house prices. So that's kind of taking weather a little bit, broadly when talking about solar stuff. But this was in Woodland, North Carolina. The council voted down a proposal to do a solar farm because of these people in town who were afraid it was going to suck energy from the sun, cause cancer,
Jeez.
harm house
Yeah,
prices.
it's always those
And-
same three people.
And
I
a
know.
retired science teacher said they were concerned the panels would prevent plants in the area from growing. So,
Isn't that why they took the deer crossing signs down, because it was attracting so many deer?
attracting
Yeah.
deer.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
Jeez.
so there's
So-
some fools for you.
Yeah.
All right. I have one. And I love this because it's Russia. So we can make fun of them as much as we want.
We
But
still
it's
have listeners in Russia.
That's
well,
right.
Russians always have such funny video, and they always have dash cams. I
Yeah,
But-
everyone's got one.
they do. But this one is like they're in a flood, and they're just doing stupid stuff. Like they're floating on a raft, and
Air
don't know
mattress.
what's in
That's
these
an air
floods.
mattress.
Oh, air mattress.
That's crazy.
And they're like, let's see how much trouble we can get into.
Oh,
And-
they're idiots.
And they're going right by cars.
Oh my gosh.
And now they've got like the paddle board. You don't know what's in here. You've always got
Oh
the
my
one girl
gosh.
too. She's in her bathing suit, getting
Oh,
in the
yeah.
raft. But this one is my favorite here in about 45 seconds in, if you want to watch this. He starts swimming in this face first, like he's doing the freestyle. Like,
oh, yuck.
You don't
Oh,
know
I'm gonna
what
throw
is
up.
in that water.
Oh.
bucket.
Yuck.
Ew.
Oh, I just threw up in my
Just
mouth.
don't do
It's
that.
so gross. And I'm like, you probably sucked up some flesh-eating bacteria
Yeah.
or something gross. Like,
Right.
stop it. Oh,
People
anyway,
are-
that's a good one if you want to watch it. If you want to watch any of these Weather Fools, they're on stormfrontfreaks.com, episode 84 in the show notes.
Just not at dinner.
Not at dinner.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, no.
All right.
All right,
All right.
Jen.
Weather resources. I got really excited about
Good.
that.
You did. Wow. Yeah. That's good. This better be good now.
It is really good now. So this is the part in the podcast where we talk about different websites. Could be a tool, a product, a book, anything that can help with weather forecasting. You can geek out, something fun, maybe with videos. And so I think we're going to kick it off back with you, Dina, because you have one.
Yeah, I do. Okay, so I've used versions of this, and I know it's come out. They've changed it recently, but this is from the Weather Prediction Center. It's www.wpc.ncep.noaa.gov. But we'll put it on the show notes. But this has a lot of an overview. It's got your overview for the day. It's got areas. You've got your surface analysis, your fronts. It'll give you your rainfall totals. I like that it gives you the excessive rainfall outlooks for your days. In winter, you've got winter weather. You've got all kinds of forecasting tools in here, and it's all in one shot. So it's a good one to bookmark because that you can kind of keep and go back and forth on it as you need. I use it every day. Yeah, I use it every day.
Yeah, it's definitely good in the winter. That's like the winter SPC
Yeah, you get
site.
the snowy. Yeah,
Yep.
it's good.
Yeah,
That's perfect. Phil, you've got two?
I've got two. Yep. So first one I've got with you is so we've, and whether you're aware of this or not, but we have been on, and look at that, we're actually we're live on this. So helicity.co, where it has all the gear, right? All the cool weather gear and all that kind of stuff that you can get, including an exclusive line of Stormfront Freaks gear. Let me tell you. They also started what was called Helicity TV, and they've since rebranded it to StormTrack TV. And so what they do is they've got a great lineup of contributors that provide, whether it's storm chasers or meteorologists, that provide material for them to show, including Stormfront Freaks Raw. So they show Stormfront Freaks Raw. They try to show our live show, which they're showing right now when we go live. But we're on basically on a daily basis, assuming there's no severe weather in the country, because they will go to severe weather coverage. But they also show us. But there's also some great contributors that are on that as well. So you can go to Twitch. This is twitch.tv. And search StormTrack TV, and you can find it live. It's
cool, Phil.
They were going. I think they're 24 hours. I know they had to get special permission to do that or something from Twitch, but it's a 24/7 weather network.
Is that us?
StormTrack TV.
That's yeah. So we're live on there right now.
That down too.
So that's us watching us watching us watching.
Yeah,
us.
That's
that
cool.
kind of
And so
crazy.
on and
Digging
so
it.
on and so on.
All right, the next one I've got, it always works out well for us. Michael Olbinski is a friend because he always comes out with something great for me to use as a WX resource. So he just recently this week, he published, or I don't know, what do you call a video? You publish it?
Publish?
A vlog.
Promote it? You release it? I don't know what you call that. But this is Vorticity 2. And this is his most recent time lapse of
so
just
pretty.
unbelievable. I mean, Mike is like
I love these.
a god when it comes to his storm time lapse videos. And so his latest one is called Vorticity 2. What's great about it is it's just he does a great job editing the video as far as the images. And he also does it in 4K. So this is all done in just beautiful 4K. So he does tornadoes, haboobs, shelf clouds, supercells, lightning. This is a complete. How long is this thing? This is.
God, that's stunning.
It doesn't tell me, but anyway, he's just always amazing. And if you weren't already aware, you got to go to Vimeo. So it's vimeo.com, Vimeo, and just search Vorticity 2. And you can find his latest video, and it's to music, so he's got some great music with it as well.
That is so good. That should be part of courses.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
part
gosh.
of weather training. Yep.
Yeah, so it's just, I mean, you could just sit here and put this on repeat and throw it in the back and just watch.
It's so beautiful.
So anyway, so check out Vimeo.com and then search Vorticity 2 to find Michael Binsky's latest unbelievable, beautiful video.
That's gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay.
Does anybody? He's good.
Yeah, he is good.
Yeah.
So I am last but not least. So I have kind of a tool. I know, right, Maz? This is exciting. I have a tool. So this is for you storm chasers out there, and then anybody creating like video content like Mike. It's a flexible tripod. So it's not like a, one that you can't really, bend around or anything. You can actually hook this to the side of your car, to your roof,
fence
do
posts.
anything.
I've wrapped
fence
things
posts.
Fence
yes.
posts are good. Yep.
Yeah. Anything. And so this is made by Iographer, and they are amazing because they also have the cases where you can put your phones in. So, or even an iPad. So if you're filming something, you see and you stop and pull over, it's like a storm or something, you can just take video of it, and it helps keep the camera steady. And we use them even when I was at the Weather Channel, when we would do lives without a normal camera, when we would use the phone, we would use them in the field too. So it's something really cool with those big grips. They really help out. And the fun thing about this is we're giving 2 away next week.
Cool.
So you have to follow our Twitter handle for the details. They'll probably be released on Monday or Tuesday.
What's our Twitter handle?
What is our Twitter handle?
It is I'm so glad we have a social media expert on our panel. It is at Stormfront Freak.
Remember, I just joined back. It's my second episode, guys.
Drop the S at the end.
Yep,
yeah, because they limit the character. That's one of the thing when you create a Twitter handle.
Yeah.
So follow us, and we're going to have the details next week.
That's
and
awesome.
You can get the resources just on stormfrontfreaks.com, show notes, episode 84.
That's correct.
Nicely done. Good job.
Beautiful. Good resources, folks. All right, let's see if we got anything in our fan freak box.
You've got mail, baby. Yeah.
MJ, what do we have?
We've got mail. Ray Leichner checks in with us. A little fun with that Stormfront Freak, which I was honored to be a part of last year. You got to check these podcasts out. Some amazing guests in the weather community here. Thanks, Ray, for that plug.
Thanks, Ray.
That was really nice.
Awesome.
Very nice.
I love people.
Ray, see if you can get David Letterman on for us, would you?
There you go. And Steve Miller checking in.
Steve, hey, we just heard his band.
I know.
We just heard his band. We did. Yep. So he's watching at Jim Cantori's guest spot on the Stormfront Freak podcast, and you can too, he says. So
okay.
Woo.
All right.
Nice. Awesome.
And finally, Hendrik de Star checked in and said, I really love the podcasts. They are truly informing and entertaining.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks, Hendrik. We appreciate that for sure. So that's in the mailbag today. Remember, Twitter at Stormfront Freak. Facebook is Stormfront Freaks, and on the web, stormfrontfreaks.com.
Send me a postcard, drop me a line.
All right.
You've got mail, baby.
You got mail, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I heard they're coming out with a new Austin Powers movie, by the way.
Are they
Really?
Really?
Yes, they are.
I'm looking forward to the Top Gun Maverick.
Little treats.
Me too,
Yeah,
me
so
too.
There you go.
that'll be interesting. All right. So, hey, I think that just about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks podcast. Thanks for listening or watching. Before I reveal our next guest, if you enjoy the show, do us a favor, leave a great review on your podcast app, and we can, if it's written, we can share that on the next show. Or as some of these other freaks, go ahead and tag us on your social media account, and we'll go ahead and share that on the next show. But don't forget to subscribe by hitting your podcast app subscribe button. Works just like a magazine or newspaper. When you subscribe, except this is free, it'll be delivered right to your podcast app inbox the moment it gets released, so you don't have to wait. Some podcast apps, you got to wait 24 hours if you don't subscribe to us to be able to get the show. So hit that subscribe button. I do want to say a special thanks to our guest tonight, Janice Dean. Fun as always. We'll have to see, I guess, if we get her back next March. And then our next episode, get this, guys, in 2 weeks, we're going to be recording on August 8th with another former guest. It's AccuWeather Extreme Storm Chaser Reed Timmer. He's going to be with us. If you'd like to watch the recording live, it'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check out the YouTube channel by searching Stormfront Freaks, and you can find it right there. So
before you go, I got a question for you, Phil. I know we're over time. Where did you get that shirt?
I got this at they're in Nebraska.
Yeah, I know. I'm from Omaha.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Tell me about that.
It's triple. I think it's AAA team. It's the AAA baseball team. It's the Omaha Storm Chasers.
Oh,
very cool.
And that's the hat as well. It's my Storm Chasers hat. So when I was out chasing this spring, I spent a day. It was a nice day, and I just said I'm going to go to a baseball game, and I went to Omaha and caught it. It was a double header. I didn't even know that. It was a double header.
Bonus.
So it was sweet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Very cool.
So I thought you'd like that. So for MJ, for Maz, Dina, and Jen, I'm going to go ahead and signal the all clear, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.
All righty. If you've been watching and listening, thank
That's a
you.
wrap.
Those of you on Stormfront Freaks Raw,
Good
thanks for
job.
checking us out. You got a little extra today.
They got the bonus and they liked it too. The weather.
Oh, weather troll bot. Janice liked the weather.
Yeah.
Yes, you
weather
did.
troll bot.
She's funny.
And that's
Is that
how
a real
I
thing?
Is that real? Where'd you find that?
I was
thing?
like, wait, she's not understanding this part. That's
And
funny.
I thought I was misunderstanding it. I was like, wait a minute, is it real?
Did you
Diaper
win that
change.
with the
What's that?
sash?
He said-
Misunderstanding.
Your previous one was change me. So he said, "What do you mean?" Yeah.
Change me.
Oh, my
Dina,
wife is
I love
calling.
your glasses, by the way.
That's
Oh,
okay.
thank
I
you.
see what you're saying.
And
the more I use them, the more I need them.
I love
know.
them. And I
I
love
hate
your
that.
aviation decor, too, behind
Oh
you.
yeah, and the new turtle behind me.
Oh no, you got a turtle.
God,
What?
my
Where?
kids. Well, I turned the light off
Oh, yeah.
so that, but he's a tortoise. So my son, who wanted it,
Good
big
times,
time,
man.
his children will be taking care of it at some
It's
point.
it's a what?
It's a tortoise.
They're so
They said a
playful.
tortoise.
I, love
was
them.
like,
They're just
that's
they-
I've not heard before.
I turned the lights
new
off.
thing.
It's too bright, like
Snuffleupagus.
on here, but
Oh.
cool.
so yeah, he's got to share. I'm like, you're in the way of my prop. You know?
Nice.
Oh,
All
wow.
right, MJ, you want to share what's happening quick?
Hey, so Google Hangouts is ending August 1st.
Ooh.
That's like yeah, so they're not going to have Hangouts on air, what
Oh,
we
no.
use to stream to YouTube. So we have to change. I love
Okay.
change. I know you all love change.
Changes.
I'm glad you're up on this. MJ.
Pardon?
I'm glad you're up on this because
Yeah.
I didn't
No,
hear
it's
that.
Phil kind of got
Ah.
to it first. But I did do some experimenting with some new potential products, and we're going to use something called, at least we're going to try it. We're going to try something called StreamYard.
Okay.
It's the
I've
same
heard of that
thing. It's
before.
going to be a link. It's a one-click. So it'll just be a link in the document, the same as it's always been. You have to use, there he's got it.
Nice.
Little music in the
You
background.
have to use Chrome or Firefox, but I think most of you are doing that anyway.
Yeah.
Is that right? So I think Chrome is best. And it's just one click. And what will happen, just so you know, I'll send out, there's a sort of a one-page document that says what to expect when you're a quote-unquote guest. But for the first time, we're all guests in a way.
Wait, you said August 1st. That's next week.
Right. So for our
Yep.
August 8th.
Oh my God, that's like right
Isn't it
around the
nice that they
corner.
gave us such
gave
advance
us a lot
notice
of
on that,
warning.
Google? Thank you,
Yeah.
Google.
So anyway, when I'll send that, we'll send that document out so you can kind of look at what to expect. But when you click on it to join at first, it's going to put you in a virtual green room. We're actually going to have a real virtual green room.
Ooh,
That's so
there's
fun.
dots on the counter and
So it'll say, you're, I don't know what it is. It's a message about you're waiting to, be brought in or something like that. And so then I have to click to bring you into the actual
Okay.
recording. It gives us a lot of production things for video, so lower thirds and overlays.
Is it free? Is it free?
It's not. Well, there is a free version, but I'm actually going to pay for it because paying for it gets rid of their branding, and we don't really want their branding on our show that much.
Right. Okay.
But it's not expensive. It's $20 a month. So.
Oh wow, really? Way to be on it.
Yeah. Right.
So anyway, just so you know that to expect it's going to be a little different next time.
Take it out of the intern money. Yeah.
Here's the other thing that comes with that is we can only have 6 people on talking at once. We can have 10 people on, but 4 have to be in the green room. And when you're in the green room, you can't talk unless we take you out. It's like punishment unless we take you out of the green room.
This is actually going to be fun.
So here's what we're